we have our elements today, which are the idea of air and that idea of mentality and relationship and perspective and mentality and how we're a witness and how we show up in the world. And then we also have the deep waters of just our emotional realm, our transformational realm, our ability to kind of evolve and rise up from those unexpected shifts and losses and turbulence, as well as really embracing the evolution of our souls. And I know that sounds heavy, but while I'm teaching this live, we have this energy that'll happen that's really about earth. So I should add earth to today's practice. So we're going to ground into what is it that we can embrace and hold infrastructure for how we're transitioning and how we're shifting and how we're working with these new ways of being, and realizing that it's the energy and the movement's still going to be slow, realizing that we're going to be more settled today and working with our hips, working with our spine, because in that earth energy, specifically in the earth energy where it's really the infrastructure of our physical nature, we want to still allow for movement so we don't get stuck, okay? So let's just start moving. How about that? Come onto your mat. We're gonna just be face down, all the way on our belly, face down, bottomed out. Completely on the earth. Okay? So, the major energy that's going to happen while we're practicing is the perfection. We've already been in this energy, okay? The perfection of Pluto being conjunct Jupiter. So Pluto is an astrological ideas, the archetype is the transformer, and it's really the soul's evolution. Like anytime you're experiencing Pluto transits, then what you're experiencing is the dying, but it happens in cycles. So it already happened this summer and it happened in April. So the timing of it is, if you've looked at just through the global pandemic of when we were in total lockdown, completely quarantined, the world was quarantined, and so nobody was removed from that. At the same time, we have Jupiter, which is anything Jupiter touches, it expands. It is the biggest planet in our system that we know. It is the sweet, loving, benevolent, Santa Claus-like energy that brings opportunity, but literally anything it touches expands. So it's really this conjunction point is the ending of a cycle, but it's also a beginning of a cycle. It's the same as a new moon. We have a new moon on Sunday. And so with that, if you're face down, head on the ground, breathing, that you can just be just bottomed out in the way of letting the energy dissipate for you. And in that, you can also embrace the transitions that we're going, not just on a physical level, but at that soul level, like at a cellular level, like kind of like we're as a collective humanity on this earth, if you can envision kind of just the whole layer of skin shedding, just like a snake releases to be renewed. So face down, head on the earth, breathing into your belly. And as we connect to this energy, call in the highest for yourself. For this time on your mat, harm to none. Breathe deep into the belly, into the shock, into the grief, into the pain, into the confusion, into the abundance, into the sacred pause. Come into the present moment by breathing so deeply into your belly, and at the top of the inhale, pausing and just acknowledging what you're showing up for, and then exhaling out. And then breathing in again at the top of the inhale, pausing and just reminding yourself of all that you've overcome, all the moments you've up-leveled, all the moments you've risen above the moment of great contraction to experience more growth. And then a big exhale out. And then inhaling one more time, pausing at the top of the inhale and just expanding into your own heart, receiving and welcoming in the guidance of your highest self to support you and serve you. And you're just going to bend the knees and circle the ankles. You can even roll the feet from side to side. And as you are circling the ankles and rolling the feet from side to side, just feel how stuck you are or how expansive you are. You can reflect on where you've been in the past year, like what's really kind of shouted out at you, what have you had to let go of, what have you had to release. Stretch your legs out long, point your feet back, bring your hands in under your bring your elbows in under your shoulders and come up into a Sphinx pose, and then just move your head around. All right, so later in the day for me, 4 o'clock is not an ideal time for me to be teaching, so I will be getting back to that earlier time frame just to get the energy right. But feel just the energy of your day that you're ready to release and transition into the darkness and the time where we rest and we renew. Come all the way back to the center. You're going to tuck your toes, lift your thigh bones up. Okay, walk your knees in. I know, not graceful, not pretty. Take your knees wide, tuck your toes, come up onto your fingertips, and then stretch your hips back. So wiggling your hips towards your heels, swaying your ribcage from side to side, moving the head around. And so feel that you're ready to release, that you're totally fine with letting go of that tension and uncovering what really sits beneath the surface. So just embracing all the changes that we're experiencing. You're going to roll your spine up. Your knees are wide if they let you be. Your toes are tucked. Your hands are going to come back behind you, shoulders into your back. You may not get all the way back, but this is just something I came up with when I was pregnant with my kids. Opening the heart, let the head move, let it sway from side to side. And parenthood, no matter where you are on the journey of parenthood, whether it's of little animals, inhale your left arm up, stretch it over to the side. So you're leaning back, you're waking your feet up. We're in that heavy dose of earth. We're in the expansion of the side body for that water and clearing the head. And then inhale through the center. So even if you're just a mother of little animals or a father of animals, or your kids are long gone or grown, or you're just the most amazing aunt in the whole wide world, that you can be in that place of knowing how you have to adapt. And then exhale. Release your hands. I'll never forget when I was studying with one of my meditation teachers. Come onto your hands and knees. And going and talking to this amazing woman who is just has been a guide to me. And she said, you know, the spiritual practice is being in relationship. Right? Being with ourselves is actually fairly easy. To renounce the world and just go live in a cave, we might get lonely, but it's easier. Come on to your hands and knees, tuck your toes, lift up and back, downward dog. But being in relationship with a significant other, a child, a parent, an animal, animals are hard unless you can communicate with them. It is the work. It's what we're here to do. So as you're in downward dog, feel your humanness. And just embrace the change we've already been through, lying on the ground, breathing, and to being in Adho Mukha Svanasana. Feel the areas that are tight and alive and the areas that are dull and ready for life to find its way. You're going to bend your knees and then just rock your hips from side to side. We're getting into the belly, so really lift into your core. Keep the rib cage drawing in. Let the head move and just waking our core up, clearing our hips. If you could make little figure eights with your pelvis, then make little figure eights. Let everything else move with you. And then come back through the center. Inhale the right leg to the sky. If you need to come on your hands and knees, please do. Bring the right knee into your chest. Be strong to the core. Circle the knee around and up to the sky. And then pull the knee in. 5 circles today. And moving around and feeling that breath and being in relationship with yourself and just feeling each transition that we make, each move we make. Feel how much the earth is pulling you down or how resistant you are just to the whole process. Step the foot through to a lunge. Find your fingertips. Inhale, you're going to pull the hips up, bend the back knee, and just let the outer hip settle. So stretching through that whole front leg, grounding down. Release the head. Feel your breath. Deep inhale in. Deep exhale out. We're going to lunge into the front knee and then pivot. You're going to lift the right toes up. Lunge into the left knee. Walk the hands forward. So Skandanyasana. Hips pull back. Stretch through the inner thigh. Soften the heart. So embracing the transition, you got to hug the muscles into the bones, come all the way back to the front, bend the back knee, and then pull the hips back. Feel the container, the breath, the connection, lunge into the front knee, pivot to the back leg, bend the left knee, right toes lift, Skandanyasana. So as we dance between where we're headed, bend the knee, stretch the leg, and we're being slowed down that we can just embrace the transition. Lunge forward, shift, Skandanyasana. So 5's our number, transformation. Inhale, come through the center, spin around, back inner thigh has to internally rotate, bend the knee, stretch through the front leg, and then lunge, shift again. So that's 4, spin around, lift through that core, come into that lunge. This is just this unicorn stretch that I have, bending the back knee, clearing the head, neck, and jaw, lunge to Skandanyasana. You gotta pivot, right? And pivot again, and pivot again. Inhale, come all the way back through the center. You're gonna shift the weight forward. Inhale the left leg up, circle the left ankle around, move the head, relax the neck and jaw, bend the knees as much as you need to, and then just curtsy. The left knee is going to come behind the right knee, over to the right shin, and then inhale, stretch out. Now as you stretch out, let the feet move in opposite directions. So it's a square, it's a 90-degree angle between the legs, and then exhale, feel them cross. Find ease here and challenge here. And just embracing the change. Embracing the transition, embracing just your mood and what needs to die off, what attitude really needs to let go of. What boundary did you have? What purpose were you holding that now you can let go of? You probably gained insight to it in April and then it showed up again in June and here we are. That final turn. And then as you exhale, step the leg back and move into downward dog. Push your hands, lengthen the spine. Full breath in, lift the heels, bend the knees, and just rock the hips from side to side again, moving into that belly. And again, if you can make little figure eights, don't overthink it, don't overanalyze. Just feel that movement, and then come back to the center. Left leg lifts, strong arms, strong core. I like to keep a little bend in the knee so I can keep my thigh bone in the hip socket. 5 circles, knee to the heart, out to the side, all the way around. And as you move that energy around, you have this chance to grow and evolve. And we can expand, we have to choose, we have to do the work, we have to show up, but we can expand into our higher self, to a stronger, more powerful version that's inclusive. Step the foot through to a lunge. Help it out if it doesn't make it. You're going to bend the back knee. So the back knee is dipping down and the front leg is pulling up and back. This is a big old wake-up call. call through the leg. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Release neck, release the jaw. Then lunge into that leg. Stay lifted through the inner thigh. And pivot. Right foot turns out. Lunge towards your back knee, Skandanyasana. And then inhale all the way back up through the center. Find your center. Bend the knee. Pull the hips back. And then exhale, lunge. Pivot again. Shift. Skandanyasana. So you can go as high or as low as you want. Feeling the breath, the connection. Turn again. Back heel lifts. Knee bends. Hips pull back. So feeling the movement, the dance, and the strength that's coming by clearing the tension that's present. And as you're moving with your rhythm and your groove, that you can connect more deeply to your process and your experience. I think we have one more. And so we want to stay buoyant, even though we're getting into deep layers of our hips. Come all the way back through the center. You're going to shift the weight forward. Walk the hands forward, use blocks. Circle that right ankle around. And then bend the knees, pull into the belly, cross the leg back behind you. Free through the neck and jaw, and then inhale. Stretch the leg up again, right? So that 90-degree angle. Exhale, pull into the core. Finding more ease by pulling in. Inhale, stretching long. Exhale, bend the knee, pull into the belly. 2 more. I'm not a good counter, by the way, you guys. Especially, I feel like I've been in the future, mainly because I have. And then stretch the leg back, step the foot back. So I'm really not good with counting. Lift up and back, downward dog. Find your hands, find your ground. Sway the hips from side to side. Relax the neck and jaw. Full inhale in. And a full exhale out. You're going to step your feet wide. Walk your hands back to your feet. Turn the feet out. And exhale into a squat. Malasana. Go as low or as high as your heels can stay on the ground. Press into the earth firmly, and you're going to ground into the earth. Draw into your core. Inhale, rise all the way up to standing. Interlace the fingers, turn the palms to the sky. Turn the feet in, and then exhale your hands wide. Clasp them behind you, shoulders to your back. Open your heart, move your hips, move your head. Just get a little looser with yourself so you can undo all that stuck energy. Draw into the core. Knees are bending. Hinge at the hips. Fold all the way over. Relax through the neck. Relax through the jaw. Bring the hands to the earth and walk your hands forward. Coming all the way into plank pose. Draw into that strength. Elbows bend all the way to the ground. Feet point back. Palms turn up. Inhale, cobra pose. Relax the fingers. Exhale, bow down. Hands under the shoulders. Pull up and back. Downward dog. Walk your hands back to your feet. Right, 5 is our little number today. We're just going to keep repeating so we can feel the evolving energy into that squat, into that prayer. What do you want to rise up with? What energy do you want to bring with you out of this transformation? Stretch it up high, feet turn, whoop, forward, hands clasped behind you, shoulders to your back, hearts open. And then hinge at the hips, fold forward, bowing down. Free the hands to the earth. Inhale, plank pose. Feel the connection to your core, to your strength, all the way down to the ground. Palms turn up. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, bow down. So your hands come under your shoulders. Pull the inner thighs up into your core. Tuck the toes. The inseams of your legs are moving you back. You're moving from those deeper layers of yourself that we woke up. Downward dog. Walk the hands back. So in this play of energy, all the way into Malasana, we're grounding, we're honoring, we're recognizing that we're experiencing something right here, right now. But the last time this particular alignment happened was in the 18th century. And so that gives evidence that things repeat themselves. Inhale, come all the way up. Stretch the arms high. Hands clasped behind you. Shoulders to your back. Hearts open. Feet turn forward. Knees bend. Thighs go back. Hug your outer hips and stay lifted into the core. Hinge at your hips all the way forward. Free the hands. Inhale, plank. Number 3, elbows bend. So 3 is the midline. Palms turn up. 3 is the place where we dissolve all the connection and tension we had about repeating. And we're starting to realize and connect to the benefit and the growth and the transition. Walk the hands back. Feet turn out. Malasana. Feel that breath. Rise up. Let your light be expansive. Hands clasped, heart opens. And feel in that cycle, into the hips, fold, that you're just in that place of renewing and connecting. Being in that strength, palms up, fingers relaxed. That we can find new ways, that we can really build a new infrastructure out of what has been broken down. Hopefully you've broken down the tension in your calves, and your hamstrings, and your inner thighs. And that here, if you can, take your hands overhead. If not, it's okay. Draw into the belly. Rise up. And that you can continue to open your heart to the guidance of your highest self, the guidance of that soul's evolution. Hinge at the hips and bow. That doesn't really care to remain stuck. Inhale, plank. Number 4, into the earth. Palms turn up. Notice how you're anxious and antsy to move on, but we're not through with the cycle yet. This is like where we are in our life right now. We're at the point of number 4 in the rotation until it becomes a new story. Here we go, walking the hands back, final cycle. Bend the knees. Honor the strength you've cultivated. Honor the new ground you can stand on. Breathe into what you have, are mourning that you had to lose and let go of. Exhale, bow, and just honor the humility of being human and surrender, and let that practice of surrendering be a disciple of it. Exhale to the earth. Palms turn up. Inhale, opening. Bowing to the ground. Toes tucked. This time we're going into child's pose. Rise up. Big toes come together. Hips move back. Bow into the ground. Bow into the earth. Embrace the sacred pause of just reclaiming the connection to you and your truth. Stretch the arms out. Inhale up onto your hands and knees. Toes tuck. Knees lift up off the ground. Hug the legs towards the midline. Notice if you're dipping one side or the other. Really respect the infrastructure of you. Don't get just caught up in the mind and the expectation I shared with a client and my husband yesterday, like, I think we just have to lower our expectations we hold for ourselves. And I was like, that's not a good way to say it. Really what we want to do is give ourselves grace. And as we give ourselves grace, we just realize that we're not operating at our highest level when we're under great stress. Walk all the way to the front and to the mat. But actually what we need to do is retreat and simplify and reclaim our boundaries based on the information we hold now. So as you stand here, connect in your forward bend. Feel the power of your own breath. You're going to push into the earth, draw into the core, shoulders to your back. You can roll up or go through an elongated spine. It's up to you. Come all the way standing. Arms by your sides, shoulders to your back. Big full breath in and a full breath out. And just stand here and honor and breathe. As we finally stand tall, steady in our light, that you can stand with the depth of just the journey thus far. And if you're not a deep diver like myself, that you can at least respect all that's come forward, all that's evolving, all that is changing, and make peace on some level with what will never return again. And if that is so hard, then honor that of yourself. Make note of it. Don't try to toughen up and pretend as if you don't feel anything. But let that energy guide you so that it can really be healed, because the only way we can transform anything is to own it and bear witness to it and breathe with it. And then once we do, we actually reveal an inner power, an inner strength, a capacity to rise again and reclaim the opportunity and the potential that's before us. Inhale the arms up overhead. Hands can stay overhead. You can bend your arms and bring your hands back behind your head. Or you can clasp the hands behind you. We're going to bend the knees. Pull into that core strength, shoulders to your back. Thighs are going back. Stand into the right foot. We're going to shift into Warrior 3. And from Warrior 3, feel the expansive nature of you. Pull into that center. We're going to step all the way back into a high lunge. So mindfully land the foot, pull in, draw into the core. How are you mindful? You paid attention. You knew you were challenged. You knew you had a choice. And you chose responsibly based on how to nurture yourself and your practice. That is the discipline of yoga. Lunge more deeply into the front leg. Pull into the core more. Open the heart. Big full breath in. And then exhale, hands to the earth. Pivot, Skandinavasana. And as you're in Skandinavasana, if you can come all the way down, go for it. Stay up if you need to be up. Be in the place that you can still move, that you can still feel the flow of energy. You don't get stuck. Full breath in. And then as we exhale, we're going to lunge back to the front leg. Bring the knee to the earth. Heel toe the right foot out. And as you heel toe the right foot out, walk the hands forward. You could stay here. Pull into that strength. You can come down to your forearms. Enjoy the breath. If you want more oomph, bring the back knee up off the ground. Deep full breath in and a deep full breath out. Then we're going to draw into the core. Inhale up onto our hands. Bring that right foot to the center. Lower the heart down and slide the right arm in under the right thigh. If you're here with me in this moment, I want you to applaud yourself for sticking with it, of finding that way to connect to new boundaries. And we're not pushing ourselves here, okay? So we can stay here. we can lift the back knee up and just see ourselves taking flight. Maybe the front leg goes. My clothes are going to slip on me. And maybe the back leg lifts. No points. Extra points for being able to make something magically appear, but rather the power is in surrendering. So we will all find our way somehow flat on the earth. Grounded again. Just breathing into the challenges of the twists and the turns as we navigate the journey of our life. Big full breath in and a big full breath out. Bring your gaze back to the center, bend the knees, reach your hands back for your feet, shoulders to your back. Inhale, open the heart just to clear out. And then exhale, hands under your shoulders. Rise up, toes tuck, move it back, downward dog. Walk your feet forward. Arm balances can be overrated, but they can also remind us of all that we contain. Yoga does that in so many ways. There's certain poses that I just don't really encourage, and certain poses that I love to throw in for us. Elongated spine or rolling the spine up vertebrae by vertebrae. It's up to you. Come back standing. Meet yourself where you are as you are. Allow for the breath. Good news, we're not going to do that flow 5 times, okay? Release the hands down. So again, your hands can be clasped behind you. They can be stretched up overhead. They can be back behind your head. Pull into the core, bend the knees. Draw in, Virabhadrasana 3. So you got to pull this back leg in. Stretch the leg back. If you're going to fly in that Kunyasana variation, it is the back leg that is going to direct the trajectory of where we're headed and how we engage. So hug the leg towards the midline, lift through the inner thigh, but keep the spine elongated. Full, powerful breath in. Full, powerful breath out. And then bend the knee, stretch back. So you got to land the foot, connect. Where are you? How did you land? What needs to shift? Chances are you got to pull back into your center, draw back into your core, and reopen your heart. Reopen to what is and how you can work. What boundary? Chances are you're going to have to rework the inner workings to create the boundary. You can't just hug in and expect to be held. We have to actually soften first. And in the softening, we can tune in, and then we can regroup. And then exhale. Hands come all the way to the earth. Pivot to the back foot. Skandinavasana. We've already been here. So you already have an awareness of how you can actually step forward as we've cleared out and meet yourself where you need to be. The hands can be on the earth. You can come all the way to the ground. You just want to still be able to move. You don't want to get stuck. You don't want to get so buried into this powerful opening that you lose your way. And then inhale, come all the way back through the center. Spin the back heel up, so come back to that internal rotation because we've moved around on the mat. Widen the left foot, back knee comes to the ground. We're not just dropping down and dumping. We're coming through, holding our center, connected to that core. That's why we woke it up in the beginning. Elbows to the earth. Enjoying the breath, the journey, the dance, the unfolding. Exhale out completely. Inhale, come all the way up. Lunging forward. So you can stay there, right? Okay. I am totally blaming my ability to do the last expression because of my clothing. So adjust what needs to be adjusted. You gotta get low Hands come underneath, okay? Back knee's gonna lift. So even just getting here, you gotta pull back in, okay? You can't just come up and be hard and edgy and just full of ambition. You actually have to pull back and soften and open yourself up. Come back to your intention, that's your boundary. Come back to what is your purpose for being here. Hopefully to nourish yourself and tend to those areas that need to be healed. And then maybe there's the potential of expanding into something you didn't know was possible. So whatever it is for you, it doesn't matter. You meet yourself where you are. You declare triumph and victory because you decided to choose from a place not of fear or anger, but just straight up consciousness, straight up, straight up consciousness. There we go. Just a new way of being. Come all the way to your belly. Rest. Rest in that energy. Honor it. You're going to inhale and bring your gaze back to the center. We're going to roll over onto our back this time. When you come onto your back, ground into the earth, and just feel how your nervous system, to be face down, you experience one thing. To be face up, prone or supine, doesn't matter. There's a different experience for us. Let the hips get grounded, the shoulders, the head, move it from side to side, clear the hips if you need to, circle the wrists, but become fully present and acknowledge the difference. We've been standing, we've been face down, we've been curled up in child's pose, we've had our hearts open, we've stood on one foot, we've been to the back edge of the mat in deep hip openers. We've been on a journey on our mat to just explore different areas with ourselves. So stay with the journey, stay with the ebb and flow, the highs and the lows, because we know through the practice that what we will be is more of our true self by the time we get to the end. Life is the same thing. Feet are grounded, arms by your sides, shoulders to your back, inhale your hips up, and just check in. How's the back? How are the legs? How are the arms? And then lead with your inner thighs. Exhale the hips back down. One more. Push into the earth. Shoulders to your back. Inhale, rise up. Just feeling what is the inner narrative, right? Like my kids are dancing all over the house right now. So if you hear a bunch of thumps, it's just them being kids. But what is the narrative inside for yourself? And then exhale. Hips come all the way back down. Now, if the narrative is clear and it's a sweet, loving conversation, then you know you're in an easeful relationship with your body. And when we're in ease, we're more clear. When we're more clear, we can actually push the boundaries slightly. We can not so much go across the edge, but change the boundaries in which we've been engaging with. So, for me, clear. Totally clear. So my hands are going to come back. Shoulders are going to draw down. You can inhale back into bridge pose, or you can rise all the way up into wheel pose. I am a person who walks my feet away for wheel rather than coming in closer. And then we'll come down through bridge. Okay? And hips come to the earth. So just a little technique. If you are longer limbed and shorter spine, chances are you'll find more expansion walking your feet away. If you are longer torsoed and shorter limbed, you'll probably feel more opening walking your feet closer together. We're going to do one more wheel pose, or you're going to do another bridge pose. So check in, listen to the breath. What is the body saying? I was way too close to everything moving in. Inhale hips, check in. What's the energy? What's being cleared? And now the discernment is my body trying to release something and finally let go of something that's been stuck? Sometimes we don't know. So you can default into just taking it easy unless you always default there. And you're always pulling back and you're always playing it safe. Or you can just tune in and know that you can change your mind along the way. You're going to inhale your hips up, maybe even come to the crown of the head and adjust. Through that adjustment, then rise. Feel the breath, the connection, the opening. And then we'll return back to the earth. And as we return, we realize we were in a place of great vulnerability if you went into wheel pose. If you did the arm bounce earlier, great vulnerability of strength. But here we are in wheel pose, huge vulnerability, completely exposed. The front body is completely accessible to the outside world. Come back to the earth. And so feel what happens in that energy as you shift from playing it safe and feeling the infrastructure of comfort and then calling in more of a courageous spirit. Last bridge pose, shoulders to your back, hearts open, feet are grounded. This is number 5, but we're coming into bridge. Sure, if you wanted to in a replay, you could do 5 wheel poses. You could just do 5 bridge poses. You could dance with them. That is the joy of yoga and finding your own practice. Hopefully this is just here to help guide you and support you so you continue to show up. And then exhale all the way back down to the earth. We're going to stay on our backs and just feel the whole body find a respite, just a moment of breathing. A deep exhale. Being conscious of the ending that's coming. Not just in our practice, but of our year. And this kind of initial shock, right? The end of these major players of Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto, all sitting in Capricorn, leadership, infrastructure, drive, ambition. Like they've been like the Olympians of how to create global change. All right, and the party's coming to an end. As a matter of fact, it's ending pretty quickly. Saturn's already headed straight out. It's going to be in Aquarius soon. Jupiter is about to exit as soon as we have this conjunct that's happening right about now. It's perfecting right about now as I'm recording this. And then it's going to full speed ahead. Pluto's going to clean up the mess a little bit because when we transform, when we're in the cycle of death and rebirth, if you haven't done what I'm doing, bring your right ankle to your left thigh. Head and shoulders on the floor, or you can hold on to your leg. There's a subtle energy that takes a while, right? Like if you've had any crisis in your life, you don't just overcome the crisis immediately. It kind of stays with you for a lifetime unless you're willing to review it and release the energy that's bound from that time. I don't know how people are living without an understanding of the cosmic influence right now. Exhale your left foot to the ground, right foot to the sky. Just flex and point, that could be enough. Or hold on to the leg. Or hold on to the calf. Keep the hips on the ground. Don't pull the tailbone up. Don't undo your infrastructure, your sacred architecture. We want to actually ground down and ground in to that essence that we can respect and honor. And then we can receive the wisdom. Exhale, bend the knee, foot to the ground. And then left ankle to the right thigh. Inhale the right foot up. And feeling your breath, feeling the connection. What is one side saying to the other side? Right? This weekend, Mars, this energy of ambition, this energy of the way we've done things for so long. It's just been in an energy, it's going to be in a standstill for a while. And it's kind of danced with this energy of the year in a major way. And then it's going to take 2 years to close out its cycle. So all this ambition, we're ready to go, we're ready to change, but not yet. And we're going to have to move through each layer consciously and really resolve the energy that is residual. Deep breath in and a deep breath out. And I heard an astrologer say the other day, bring the right foot to the ground, left foot to the sky. She did not say that. But she is sharing that we're going from being grounded to being airborne. We've really been living in the energy of earth, of that earth element for, I think I heard somewhere it's like 800 years. And now we're going to be shifting into that energy of air, which really is, for somebody like myself, is like, thank you, hallelujah. But it can be very agitating for a lot of people. So just realize, meet yourself where you are. And the more we can just even understand the elemental influence on our lives, you don't even need to know astrology. You can flex and point the foot, hold the hamstring or the calf. Just knowing the elemental influence and how you work is why I teach these classes this way, is so that we can feel that the different ways the elements influence the way we engage and experience. Now, granted, the framework, the system is through yoga, but then we can embody it and allow that embodied wisdom to guide us forward. And then exhale, bend both knees. Knees to your chest. Hold on to your ankles or hold on to your feet, happy baby pose, or reclined butterfly pose, where we all have been in a cocoon. We're all ready to take flight, but we're in the cocoon still, transforming, waiting for our wings to get stronger. And we've been reading this book that my daughter loves to say, gotta go to Mexico. I don't know why, and I don't know much, but I just gotta go. So if you feel like you gotta go to Mexico, just check in with yourself. Make sure your wings are strong first. Your business is in order. We want clear boundaries, not from the place to just run and flee because it's a big problem, but be a courageous spirit. And embrace the transitions and the change. Slowly bring your knees back into your chest. Give yourself a sweet hug. Release all the ideas. I know I've talked a lot, but it's what happens when I hang out with a 4 and a 6-year-old the whole time. Bring the feet to the ground. Knees come together or knees go wide. Pause here, arms by your sides. Let the head roll from side to side. 5 big breaths, but we're going to pause at the bottom of the exhale, okay? So we pause at the top of the inhale as we began our practice. We only did 3 breaths, so my bad. This time we're going to pause at the bottom of the exhale with 5 breaths. So just inhale in. And then exhale all the way out. Hug the belly in. You're not moving the hips around. Just pull the core in. Be really strong. Pause. And then just release. And as you release, notice how all the oxygen you need just came in and filled your being. Exhale all the way out. And pause. And then release. And as your belly softens, just enjoy the breath. The breath is our superpower. The breath is one of the greatest tools we have. Because as soon as we change our breathing, we change our experience. Exhale out completely. Release and inhale in. Next 2 on your own. And the last one. And then just let the breath find its way. We're literally recalibrating. We worked and engaged with the breath in the way to embrace the change on our mat, the change in our mind, in our body, our emotions, our soul, and just our life. Stretch your legs out long. Let the breath be easeful. And allow the breath to just dance through the body. Just as you are. Breathe into who you are. Just as you are. Allow the breath to support your journey, your evolution. And just as you are, be exactly who you are. And reawaken from the inside out with the energy of renewal, of embracing the change and the transition and the transformation, rather than resisting it, rather than blocking it. And then coming all the way back through the center. Stretch the arms long, feet long. Foot out of side. And then we'll bend the knees and roll over to one side. And then slowly come up seated. And as you come up seated, find your seat. And as you find your seat, inhale the arms up overhead. Return the hands to your own heart. Let the eyes reclose. Our greatest power resides in the ability to change. Our greatest gift is being aware that our change is consistent, that we are here to grow, that we are here to evolve. Thank goodness we are not living in caves in barbaric times, out hunting for our food. So melt in and lean in to the benevolent nature of grace. And I know that all that is yet to be can overwhelm. But right here, right now, we have the power of our breath. And the power of our awareness. And the power of being present.